All right, we are live, everybody. How's it going? Welcome out to the Lone Star Gridiron Wrap-Up Show. We're going to give you all the scores, all the news, all the information. I'm Chris Daly, and I am joined always with Brett Swinney. How you doing, Brett?
Pretty good. Just a little tired. Got in a little late last night, but I'm excited to talk some high school football today, though. Ready
Nice,
to go.
nice. Sweet. Well, I think we have Jimmy Boo Boo ready in the wings here. I'm going to bring him on, and we're going to start talking about some 1A football. And Brett, I'll catch up with you right after that.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, Jimmy, how are things?
Hello, everybody, and welcome, man. Land out here in the great state of Texas. Got a bit of a sore throat this morning. Well, guys, I'm going to tell you something. Six-man football at its finest. It was a great week. D2 football. And, guys, I'm going to tell you something. All you kids listening out there, great run. Some of you had a heck of a season. I think one of the hardest things you'll ever do in football. So there's going to be a day when the coach is going to ask for the helmet, the pads, the cleats. But no one will ever ask you for your heart. And you're going to take that with you, guys. To those of you who fell last season, heck of a run. For those of you seniors, take it on. That's your legacy. And as all these programs do. We're going to go way out east, D2, where we're going to open up with B. This was a classic football game, playoff at its finest. And Oakland, this one, with a 38-32 win, moving on into the playoffs into the next round. Then we're going to go out to Bluffdale and Morgan. Morgan put up a fight early, but wasn't able to hold on as just started moving forward. Bluffdale is going to take that game 81-35. Up a huge playoff game atmosphere between Oakwood and Bluffdale. Coming up, teams are about to find out what they're made of. Then we're going to go to Lorraine. Lorraine taking down a monster last night. Richland Springs 0. And people, Jerry Burkhart no longer with the Reigns at Richland Springs, and it's definite. So Richland Springs takes a 52-0 loss, and Lorraine kind of showing you we are here. Then we're going to go Cherokee. Cherokee's been playing strong all year, but they had a battle last night against Blackwell. It was 30-30, and Cherokee's able to move on one more round. And it's going to be Lorraine and Friday night. What a game that's going to be. If you're in that area, you definitely want to go check out. Then we're going to be moving on D2 West Division 2. We've got With Harold over Klondike 20. And I'm going to tell you something. With Harold beat a really good night. Klondike had another great season. They've had some great runs out there. Unfortunately, congratulations to With Harold as they move forward. Then we've got an old school grid. We've got Throckmorton and Jayton. And, man, this thing came down to the wire. Only 6 teams. One thing goes 1 inch left or right. We've got a different outcome. But the Throckmorton 30, Jayton 24. Wow, what a Morton and With Harold. And that will be a barn burner out there. And Benjamin puts up 56 points to Newcastle 0. And I knew, but with Rigdon at the helms, some claim that this could be a football team in both divisions. And Benjamin just keeps moving forward. That sets up this next week. And then we're going down to what they call the big boys division out there for 6-man. The surprising Erin County Mertzford undefeated 58-0 over Lakey. Lakey's been a pretty good team. But a lot of people still saying Erin County hasn't been tested this year. But I'm going to tell you, aggressive and angry a football team as they come. A lot of personal fouls on that team. Merchant or Erin County, lace it up, strap it in, because you are in for a head. And that will move us forward to Medina and Jonesboro, and this was it went back and forth all night. But Jonesboro going to come back at the end of this game. Medina had them on the ropes. Jonesboro's kind of back playing, and 62-56, great come from behind victory. That's going to set up Erin County and Jonesboro. And in my eyes, this is going to be their season for Erin County. So Erin County and Jonesboro game is about to show is. Good luck to both teams in that one. Then we're going to go down to Abbott, 58-10. No surprise in this game. Not to downplay Union Hill. Great game. Great season. Number one a few times this season in most polls, and they're going to continue to move forward, 58. And that's going to take us to Gordon. And Gordon's going to pull off a victory 2-48 over Blum. My goodness. I wish I could have been in that stadium. What a great game that must have been. It was a big playoff battle for a spot. But Gordon battled 52-48, and that sets up a showdown between Abbott and Gordon. Man, that game's going to be 50-50. No telling where it goes. Then we're going to go out west with the Snakes. Division I football. Nazareth, 62. Last two seasons have been really good for Spring Lake Earth. This next season, are they going to lace it up, come right back out strong, or are they going to fold? Only time will. Congratulations to the Nazareth Swifts, 62-28. And happy, guys, this was the shocker of the weekend. So number one ranked Rankin Red Devils earlier this season. At the end of that game, Rankin gets on the clock, get the ball back and kneel it out. That game came down to just a few points, and a happy Cowboys come out of nowhere and dominate Knox City. So everybody in Division I football right now looking in their rearview mirror, the happy Cowboys. I'm told Knox City had a lot of turnovers in that game. Will cause that. So that's going to set up Happy and Nazareth next week. Good. Then we're going to go out to where the Rankin Red Devils and Whiteface faced a slow start in that game, but was able to kick it in early in the third quarter. And the final in that game, but right now, respectively, in most polls, Rankin is the number one team in the state. They've got to go up against a team coming up, which may be down the road. Happy there, lurking in the wings, is Westbrook. And Westbrook just knocked off tonight 48-0. Now, congratulations to Buena Vista. Y'all got a really young team, a really good group of kids out there. And we look for big things at ball last night. 48-0 to Westbrook, and that sets up in the state. It doesn't get any bigger than this one, folks. It's going to be Westbrook and these two teams play this year. And in the first matchup, Rankin loses that game to Westbrook, so it's going to be a heck of a game. So if you're not doing anything, go to Robert Lee, Texas, 5 p.m. and watch this game, Rankin and Westbrook. You will not be disappointed. And that's going to wrap us up for Six-Man Football Opportunity. Go out and watch it. I will argue all day long. This is some of the best playoff football.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you, Boo Boo. Amazing stuff. I'm going to bring Brett back in here now. Brett, hey, you want to talk some 2A football?
Let's go. Let's go 2A.
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll start with 2A, Division 2. Move up in the size bracket. We're going to bring in Vince with us. What's going on, Vince?
Hey, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, we got him. All right, we're good. Yeah, we got you. Uh-oh. Your side takes
I'll be back, guys.
We'll bring you back.
Well, maybe Vince will, maybe a sidekick, she'll get a little happier when she wants to talk 2A football. So let's talk a little 2A. We'll start in Region 1 in the area round as Vega knocks off Sea Grapes 48-7, and Wellington knocks off Sudan 48-0. Go down to the bottom of that bracket, and we'll have Clareton, 48-14 over Rawls. And then we have New Home over Sunray by 22-20.
Well,
So
New Home messed up there. Everybody else in that bracket scored 48, the winning team, but they didn't.
yeah, hey, you get what you get. They only needed 22, and that's what they got. So they move on. So that's going to leave the next round matchups with the winners of District 1 and District 2 at the top, Vega and Wellington. And then you've got at the bottom, runner-up of District 2, Clareton will take on the District 4 champion, New Home. So you've got two District 2 teams left. Could be on a collision course there.
I'll tell you what, we brought Corey in and Vince back in, and I'm going to step out and let y'all run with it.
All right.
Okay.
Corey, you want to grab Region 2 there?
All right, let's see here. This is Region 2. I'm going to go back here. All right. So in Region 2, 2A, let's see here. We have Wink 35 over Cento, 35-19 over Cento. Let's see. And then Albany versus, was it Munster? Yeah, Albany versus Munster.
Monster. Yeah.
Yeah, Munster 56-10. So Wink and Albany will play here. Looks like the details have not been updated. That'll be a very good game there. I like the name Wink. I think that's kind of cool. Let's see. Windthorst and Sterling played yesterday, and of course Windthorst got the win 43-29. And then Collinsville over. Let's see. This is McCamey. So Windthorst and Collinsville will square off this coming week as well in Region 2. So we got Wink and Albany, and then Windthorst and Collinsville will be squaring off there in Region 2. We'll decide who will represent Region 2 in the coming week.
4 district champions there, Corey.
Yeah, so and like we said before, there's not going to be any surprises. There won't be many upsets in the smaller divisions. So most of the time you get those teams there, those teams are going to kind of dominate, and the better teams are going to win those games 9 out of 10 times. So,
all right, Vince, you want to grab Region 3?
Sure. So right now we got Bowie with the win over Deweyville 30-16. Mart with a big win over Cushing 69-7. Carlisle pulls out a close one over Wortham 40-36, and Lovelady beat Maud 56-0. So that puts Bowie and Mart against each other. Honestly, Bowie might be a tough team, but Mart's gonna be hard to beat. Then you got Carlisle and Lovelady gonna square off next week as well.
That should be a really good matchup down there.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I
wonder
think.
where they play.
Yeah, nothing's been released yet, but I know that.
Yeah, nothing.
The winner of that's going to get a consolation prize. They're going to get to play against Mart and probably get rolled on. But Mart, I think they're the 5 by far. We've talked about it for our East Texas shows. This is kind of the East Texas bracket per se for this classification, and they're unfortunately stuck with Mart, and Mart is on a roll. They scored 67 and 69 so far in the playoffs, so they're putting up some points.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to score with them, and their defense has only allowed 21 total, so they're able to do it on both sides of the ball. So when you got somebody like that, that's going to be a really tough matchup. I like my Carlisle Indians to get there, but that could be the end of the season for Carlisle. They're going to be a huge underdog in that one if they get there.
Be an upset though. Lovelady is not bad. Watch out for the upset for Lovelady.
All right, let's roll down to Region 4. Chilton over is that Brackenridge? Bracketsville, sorry. 48-7. We've got Burton with the 55-0 win over Rock Springs. They'll set up a Chilton Burton matchup there in the next round. Down at the bottom, we got Falls City with a 29-20 win over Sabinal, and we've got a Granger win over Dehannis 41-6. So we've got a couple of runner-ups in this bracket. And what's interesting to me here is you've got Falls City and Granger, the two second-place teams of their districts, and the two district champions are having to play first up top. So that's really interesting, the way that works itself out. So we'll see which district's stronger between District 13 and District 14. I know Falls City is really strong, but I also know Granger's strong. So this could be a really interesting finish here in this region.
I like the way you say
Absolutely.
that. I like the way you say that. We all know Falls City's good. Granger, that's another good matchup there. I don't know if it's going to be an upset, but either one of those. I mean, Falls City's already good. We already know that. But Granger may come in with an upset. Y'all know how I am. I'm always looking for upsets. I love it.
I love an underdog story.
I
Yeah.
think that's how it shakes out.
Who doesn't love an underdog story?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to 2A Division 1. Corey, you want to grab that one?
Absolutely.
Region 1.
Region 1, 2A Division 1, Region 1. We got Stratford taking the L to Cisco, 14-8. We know Cisco's really good, so that's a no-brainer there. And then we got New Deal taking the big-time win over Forsen. So Cisco and New Deal are going to square off in the next round there. And then we got Sonora 18, Farwell 7. And then we got Hawley over Panhandle. So 72-20. They put up 72 points on Panhandle. That is a bad. Ooh, you put up 70. That's basketball numbers in the playoffs. So you got Sonora moving on to the next round, and you got Hawley and Sonora. Thus far, Hawley has scored 52 and 72. In the playoffs thus far. So this looks like it's going to have to be a defensive battle for Sonora. I don't know if they could do it, but they've only had the opponents held to 27-7. So we'll see what this is matchup. See how this matchup progresses. So that's interesting.
Do any of y'all see anybody beating Holly in this region?
No, I don't think so. I think they haven't had any competition so far. I don't see anybody.
60 points a game. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting stops.
Well, when you looked up top, you've got their district runner-up, Cisco, which is still in too. But they won their first game big, but the next one against the winner of a District 1, they kind of squeaked by. But Hawley beat the runner-up and just blew them out. So to me, that just says Hawley is just that much better than even their own district mate. So I think they're going to probably take this region, barring a huge upset. All right. Vince, you want to grab Region 2?
Yeah. So it looks like we have Toller dropping 71 on Marlin. Hamilton beating Axtell 35-21. Riesel beating Bangs 38-14. And then you got Crawford beating Coleman 34-13, which now puts Toller and Hamilton battling it out. And it looks like they may have a place for this already.
Yes,
Crowley ISD.
Yeah, Crawley ISD. That's going to be the 25th.
Yeah, at 2 p.m.
That's a Friday. It's Friday at 2.
At 2. Wow, Friday at 2.
Well, because I guess a lot of people are going to be off that day.
And then you also got Riesel and Crawford playing. Looks like it hasn't been decided yet on where. So
that's going to be a district rematch. You had Riesel finishing 4th in the district, and they've knocked off two straight upset wins. Now they get a rematch with district mate Crawford. That's going to be interesting. If Crawford can beat them twice in the same season, you know how difficult that is.
It's very hard to do, especially if you're playing against a district foe. So that's tough.
So you've got 2 from District 8, and then and actually 2 from District 5 as well. As Hamilton up top is the 4th place team in their district in the Ghana. This is interesting because we talked about a while ago. There's not a whole lot of upsets, and then you've got
Right.
2 district rematches here,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not the 1st and 2nd place team. They're the 1st and 4th place team. So
You know what I like? I like a good upset. I see it happening. I see it.
upset
see it.
special.
Again, it is hard to beat a team twice. So
It is.
It is.
Yeah, it's difficult to beat a team twice.
So
yeah.
we'll see if Toller and Crawford can get by their district foes and get to that regional championship. Let's move up to Region 3. We got some interesting games here. We got Cooper over Corrigan Camden 40-14.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Joaquin over Beckville 35-40.
Down goes the
Man,
Bearcats.
So Beckville knocked out. I know I had Beckville winning that game. So now you've got a big time matchup: Cooper versus Joaquin.
Joaquin, they got me scared of Joaquin right now.
Man, Cooper's been on a roll, and they just put it to Corey and Camden. Man,
They did.
We talked about that. Vince, did you say was it 208-0 there for a minute? They had.
Yeah, but Cooper, that was a tough game because Cooper, man, they've been smacking people all year. Corey's the one that don't want to respect no Cooper. I don't understand that, but I ain't gonna hang on that too long.
Corey's got no respect. You had Corey and Camden. How shocked are you
I
there?
did.
Corey, wow. You just roll with the lie? Is that what it is?
Listen, I take it on chin.
Okay. All right.
So that's going to be a really good matchup. And then down below, I mean, this next matchup is going to be really juicy. I'm really interested to see how this one goes. We got Timpson over Frankston 49-7, and Centerville over Honey Grove 54-13, guys. Timpson Centerville matchup. Now we talked about Timpson having this region, but man, these teams that are left are going to be tough.
This could be the game.
Centerville Stout. That's going to be a game for sure.
Yeah,
and that game's going to be at the Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville,
Nice.
Friday at 7 p.m.
Oh,
yeah, that's
right down the road, Vince.
Yeah, that's right down the road. That's tempting.
Timpson
might have to get in that game.
You go watch Terry Bussey and them boys.
Yeah, I got to see Bussey.
Bussey in there.
Got to see it for myself. Bussey them.
I could honestly see. I know we've talked about how Timpson was ahead of everybody else in the class, but the way these other teams are playing, I could see any of these 4 teams coming out of this region right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think Timpson's a favorite. Don't get me wrong, and I probably would pick them if I was picking games. But I could see any of these 4 teams coming out of this region.
I think the winner of Timpson Centerville comes out.
Think so?
Yeah,
comes out.
I believe wholeheartedly this may be that game where Timpson gets really challenged. Centerville is really
good. I agree with that. I agree with that, Corey.
It may come down to 4 quarters where this is it. I think whoever wins this probably wins state. To be honest with you, it's kind of shapes up to be this. You rarely get a battle like this. These are 2 top 5 teams, and we'll get in class 4. We got to make up 2 top 10 teams, but this is one of those battles where it's like, you tell your kids, you go in the locker room, like, you're probably not going to face a better opponent tonight, two rounds deeper. This may be a state championship game. Let's just be honest. But, you still got to stay focused. But you're not going to face a better opponent than tonight. And
now,
games.
Corey, you don't forget. There's 2 teams down below in Region 4 that Chris made. Chris, you want to tell us about Region 4 since that's kind of your zone here?
Yeah, I can run through those ones real quick. Flatonia knocked off 3 Rivers, a very tough 3 Rivers team. They beat them 56-21. Shiner took care of the punchers from Mason 47-21, and that'll pit Shiner versus Flatonia. Again, 2 very good teams. I give the edge to Shiner in that one. Bottom part of the bracket, Refugio 56, Holland 9. Refugio has looked better every single week since that opening week loss. Ganado just keeps winning. They took care of Thorndale 66-12, so you're going to see Refugio and Ganado. I mean, that'll be a classic one there. But again, man, I don't think anybody can stop those Bobcats right now, and they're going to match up against Ganado.
I think Shiner's it's going to be another rematch there, possibly here next week. So
yeah, and you'll remember Refugio beat them during the regular season. They're in the same district, and to what Vince was saying, it's hard to beat a team twice. I don't know. Yeah. If somebody could beat somebody twice, it's Refugio.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that to me, I think the right side of this bracket is the heavyweights. I think whoever comes out of Region 3 and Region 4, that winner is going to win state. I don't think anybody would disagree with that here, because I said we talked about how good Region 3 is, but Region 4, the top two there are in there too. So it's going to be interesting the way that shakes out. Anybody else got anything on just 2A before we move on to 3A?
No, I'm gonna play a commercial quick, and then you can jump back into 3A.
All right, sounds good.
Wrong button.
Gridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.
There we go.
All right, we're back. Corey, you want to grab Region 1?
Absolutely. So this is 3A Division 2, Region 1. Let's see, who do we have here? We have Crane blanked by Idolo 28-0. And then, of course, we have Wall beating Childress, which was a surprise win. Wall beating Childress 44-10. So we have Idolo and Wall facing off in that next round there. It'll be played on the 25th. Let me go back here. And, of course, we got Canadian surprise beating early 42-14. And, of course, Spearman blanking Alpine 49-0. So, of course, this kind of shapes out the way we thought it would. Idolo versus Wall and Canadian versus Spearman. So with that, honestly, that was I didn't suspect Wall would come out beating Childress that way. That's a surprise one to me.
Yeah, that one surprised me. Canadian, I thought, wouldn't handle early as well as they did. Right. I thought they were going to win, but they just whooped early. But Canadian is susceptible this year. They've got 2 losses already. So they're not the Canadian of old. They're still a great team. They're probably, out of all of those teams, the most experienced when it comes to postseason play. So, that carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have any issues as long as they play their game in that region, I would think.
Yeah.
But then once you get out of the region, it's another ball game there. All right, we'll go to Region 2. We've got, let's see here. We have Comanche took a tough one to the chin over to Bells, 50-25. Kind of an upset special there, as Bells was a runner-up of District 8. They're going to take on Holiday in the next round, as Holiday knocked off Scurry Rosser 31-10. So it's going to Bell and Holiday. That game is set up for 2 p.m. on Friday. I don't see a place picked up yet, but that's the date and time. In the bottom half, we've got Palmer beating Callisburg 49-13, and they're going to take on Gunter in the next round, as Gunter all over Jacksboro 48-7. So we've got Bells and Gunter representing District 8, and then we've got district champion Palmer from District 7 and the district champion from District 6 Holiday. So not a whole lot of surprises there, mostly chalk. Of course, Bells is the runner-up, but obviously they're in a tough district because they're rolling right now. So,
yeah. Well, I tell you that Gunter-Palmer match, I love seeing it when you get 2 undefeated teams. Somebody's must go this week.
Yeah. those are always good because usually those teams are, if they're not ranked in the state, that they're pretty close to being up there. So that should be an interesting one. All right, Region 3, and this is kind of our wheelhouse. Corey, you want to go down through those?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at what we have. West Rusk, Oliver Wascom. Well, not Oliver Wascom.
No,
This was a very good game.
yeah, I
Very good
watched this
game, by
game.
the
This
way.
was a good game, Corey.
This is a very good game.
Actually, West Rusk had to stop Wascom inside the West Rusk territory with about a minute to go to get the ball back. Drove down 70-plus yards in the last minute and scored with 11 seconds to go to pick up the win over Wascom. And West Rusk kind of tends to do that this year. They're a really good team, but sometimes they play around with some of these teams that they probably should put away early. I didn't get to see the whole game, but Wascom jumped ahead at the end, and man, it was a devastating scene to watch. They thought they won, and it was like West Rusk just stole the game away there at the end. And tough way to go out for Wascom, but West Rusk moves on. And Corey, the next one,
You know what's building. You know what's building for me. So the Hooks and Harmony game,
ooh,
Hooks was it was almost like a heavyweight bout. Hooks came out on fire, and then Harmony kind of slowly got into rhythm, and they end up taking this game 37-23. Now, of course, if you guys are new to this, we have a weekly wrap up show every Wednesday at 8:30. And once we do the weekly wrap up show, we have a lot of community involvement. So the Hooks community came out in droves, and they represented very well. So and this game ended up being a Harmony victory. And so if you guys want to just kind of tap in the weekly wrap up show this coming week, I'm pretty sure we're gonna give a lot of shout out to the Hooks fans.
and yeah, and if you don't not aware, one of our colleagues on the show, Kyle Owens, he was calling that game, so he picked Harmony, and he got all kinds of comments from these Hook fans, and now they're going to have to come back and take some crow. Kyle will be with us again this week, and
Yes.
I'm sure he's excited to be on the show this week. He's got some crow to dish out.
Yes. And it leads us to the trap game. This is a trap game. Harmony versus West Rusk. And I'm going to say it right now. I'm saying Harmony beats West Rusk. I know you don't want to hear it. I think they do. Very good football at this point. And the barely win theory is in effect.
It is in effect, Corey.
Is in effect.
I don't know. I wouldn't disagree with that, just because if you catch West Rusk on a night, it just seems weird. Like they seem like they're either on track, just humming, just beating the hound dog out of folks, or they just kind of play down to the opponent's level and don't play up to their the state's expectations. As Corey is, the state likes West Rusk on the polls this year. They've kind of stayed up top there. Of course,
well, Corey, I like West Rusk too, so I'm gonna call West Rusk on that one.
Oh, okay. Hey, Chris, here's the thing, Chris. We wish you'd come back and pick with us. You picked week 1 and you won.
And I won. Undefeated.
You haven't come back.
Right. Undefeated.
You haven't come back. And it's like you were scared that 1 week was maybe lucky and you didn't want to come pick against us. I don't get it.
That might be true.
He just likes to win. That's what that is. The odds of me losing is I don't want to lose anymore.
I'll tell you though, this week the Hooks fans have promised to come back, so this is going to be a very interesting show this week. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, going down that bottom bracket, Corey, and this one's going to be a heavyweight fight down here.
Oh, that's a classic.
I mean, Newton Dangerfield next round, as Dangerfield knocked off DeKalb 29-22. Newton just all over New Boston 65-8. Guys, man, Newton's on a roll. I know we don't cover Newton. They're kind of out of our area a little bit, but
a little bit.
They're rolling right now. I don't know that our East Texas teams can stay with them. I think Dangerfield probably has the best chance to beat Newton. I just don't think they are going to be able to do it.
The thing that scares me the most is DeKalb. I'm gonna say DeKalb is kind of like they played Dangerfield kind of like What the team played Chapel Hill last night. Bay City. They played them tough. Now, Dangerfield's a dangerous football, so everyone knows that. Dangerfield, that's probably not indicative to the score that they wanted to do, but the game was played a little bit more tough than they wanted to. Newton is still rolling. So, as I said before, you don't want to get in the playoffs and you don't want to give an inferior team confidence they can come out and play. We know Dangerfield's better than that. The Cal probably played their best football up to that point, and Dangerfield's just a little bit better. So I'm anxious to see what team shows up because you could probably see a state champion or a state championship competitor out of that particular bracket. If they get past West Rusk or Harmony, I'm going to tell you Harmony's going to beat West Rusk. Just throwing it out there. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
Hey, before we go to Region 4, I love doing trivia. So I have a question for you guys. How many points did the 1983 Dangerfield team give up?
Ooh.
13.
Ooh.
No.
I think it was. I thought it
7?
was maybe like 20 something, but I can't remember.
No, they gave up the entire season 8 points.
Oh,
Yeah,
Their defense gave up 0 points. It was a pick six and a safety.
oh look,
We
got somebody that has it correct, Chris.
Yeah, I see it.
that was
That's
the
one
best,
of our-
that was the best defensive team ever. Like
Yeah.
literally
East
in the state.
Elise. That's
I
one
knew
of
it
our-
was low. I knew it was
one of
low.
our- One of our YouTube followers. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Nice. All right, you can jump to Region 4.
All right. You want to do Region 4, Chris?
Sure, yeah, that's my neck of the woods again. Wallace Brazos knocked off Hebronville 42-15. Very big spread there. Tidehaven, a team that not a lot of people have been talking about. They continue to roll. They took care of Nixon Smiley 56-8. Look out for Tidehaven. Again, both those teams, Wallace Brazos, Tidehaven, that's going to be just a battle. And then you go to the bottom and you've got what I think is an even better team. That Poth team took care of Bowling, who not a lot of people were paying attention to, but they came on strong this year. Poth got that win 42-34. Taft knocked off Rogers 31-21. So you're going to say Poth against Taft, Wallace Brazos against Tidehaven, and it's going to set up the next round even better matchup.
Yeah. So you thinking Poth and Tidehaven there?
Well, I'm pulling for Tidehaven just because, growing up, they were always in our district, and it's one of those things you hated them when you're playing against them,
Yeah.
but if they're continuing on, you root for them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think Poth is one of those well-known teams that have been consistently good. So I like them in that bracket. But yeah, they had everything they wanted this last week. Only winning by 8 points.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can shake that one off and don't let the barely win theory go into effect on them, because that CM theory is tough.
You don't want it to happen. Not in the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Anything else with the 382 before you go to Division 1? Oh, good. All right. Let's move on. 3A Division 1. And again, if you're listening today and you have questions or comments about the games, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'd love to interact and talk to you. That's why we're here. We love to comment and chat with the fans. So there we go. Share your questions and comments live. All right. 3A Division 1. We've got Whitesboro all over Dalhart, 65-15. We've got Paradise over Shallow Water, 17-14. That'll set up a rematch of district foes, Whitesboro and Paradise. And we've got down on the bottom half of the bracket, we had Bushland over Jim Ned, 28-10. And Brock rolls over Muleshoe 57-20. So that's Bushland Brock matchup down below. So we've got 3 teams out of the 4 from District 4. So we'll see how that shakes out. We got a comment here from Mark Henry. What do you think about Gunter? Think they are the favorite. Yeah, Gunter's they're a good team. No question.
They're pretty solid. Again, it's one of those teams that in that bracket has so much postseason experience. That I think that's the edge, even if they're statistically, pretty similar. You give that experience the edge.
Yeah, that's like if you got a toss-up game. Okay, who's been here before?
Right.
We talk about that around our neck of the woods with like Gilmer, for instance. Even though I think they're not as good as they have been, if they match up against a team that's kind of eerily close, I'm going with Gilmer because they've got the experience about being in big games. I think it's the same with Gunner in that aspect. Corey, you got any thoughts on either one of those games? It's like District 4 pretty much is trying to take over this region.
I was surprised Jim Ned got beat by Bushland. It's 28-10. That's a runner-up versus a district winner. So, but I mean, Brock's gonna probably handle that Bushland game pretty well. So,
Yeah, they seem like they kind of got off to a rough start, and everybody was kind of, what's going on with Brock? They played just a tough schedule.
Yeah.
And they challenged themselves. Now, we've seen that go the other way, too. Corey, we've talked about, scheduling that tough non-district schedule and then getting loss after loss and then coming out and being prepared. But we've also seen Tatum, we talked about them,
as
play
Kyle
that
would
tough.
put it, as Kyle would put it, he made the reference to it last time. It only benefits you if you're competitive. So if you're not competitive, you play a tough schedule and you get blown out. It only benefits you if you're competitive in those games that you schedule that are tougher. So it's not gonna matter if you play a bunch of upper classifications and you get blasted, you don't score any points. But if you're competitive or you keep the game, of course it's going to benefit you down the road, especially if you have a tough district.
So it seems like it's benefiting Brock right now as they're looking to take that region there. I would imagine. We talked about being able to beat a team twice. It looks like if they get past Bushland, they're going to have to rematch against one of their district mates there, and they'll have to beat someone again. But I still think that they are able to take this region here.
It'll be Whitesboro.
Yeah. All right. We move down here to Region 2. Man, this one was interesting. Pottsboro all over Whitney, 62-49. That was a high scoring shootout. Is that a basketball score?
Right.
I would love to have been at that one. And then the bottom half, Grandview rolled over Mineola 48-14. It sets up a Pottsboro Grandview matchup, which is going to be a really interesting one. Pottsboro was kind of surprised of District 5. They were a really strong district, but no one was talking about them. They were talking about Winsboro and Mount Vernon. And look at Pottsboro, the only one standing. Got a chance to get to the region final with a win over Grandview. Bottom half of the bracket, we've got West over Mount Vernon. I missed this one right here. I had thought Mount Vernon was going to be able to get another win, but they got knocked off by West. And then our Malakoff pick, Corey, I went with the Coughs, and they rolled over Winsboro 55-10. Malakoff's on a roll, and it looks like we've got two teams of our coverage area left. We got Pottsboro and West. We got Eddie here with us. What's up, Eddie? Thanks for joining us today. Eddie's getting ready for probably getting ready to head towards the Star as Pleasant Grove, his team's playing today against Caddo Mills. So y'all be safe traveling, Eddie, today. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. What I know what Corey's going to think. I know who he's going with for this region. Chris, you got any thoughts on these?
Well, for me, it's been Malakoff all year. So, I don't see anybody getting in their way.
Yeah.
Malakoff versus the only team that beat them this year is Grandview. Only team. And they get a chance to play them again. And what a way to go. You definitely want to play. And this time play them at a neutral site. And yeah, that's what Malakoff wants to do at this point. You don't want to look past your opponent, but you definitely want to get past this team, and this you can play potentially Grandview again. And that's because hey, listen, Pottsboro is not going to be a pushover at all whatsoever. So, but I still think it's Grandview and Malakoff. I'm going with the Tigers for Malakoff.
Yeah. I think the bracket's kind of opened up now, and Malakoff is going to be the favorite for me to take this region. Got a couple of chats here. Eddie is headed to Frisco. You got Kapasama here. So, how
Okay.
are you doing, Miss Basama? Big win last night for the Bulldogs. So, shout out to them. So, thank y'all for joining us today. Hope y'all enjoy today's show. But yeah, I think that's Pottsboro Grandview is going to be interesting to me to
Mhm.
see if Pottsboro can compete with Grandview. We talked about the schedules a little bit the other night of how we said that maybe that some of these teams didn't have a very tough district, and are they who they say they are? It looks like Grandview and West are. They're staying the course, and we'll see. I think Malakoff knocks off probably two regions or two District 7 teams and takes this bracket though.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we'll move up to Region 3 here. Yes, that was a great game. I definitely agree. Your son played great last night. He was all over the place. Let's see. We had Columbus over Diboll 35-14, and Cameron Yo 42-19 over Orangefield. So that's up a pretty juicy matchup there with Yo versus Columbus. I like that, and it's looking like District 12 and 11 are the strongest in this particular region, as you've got Franklin over Anahuac 32-7, and you've got Hitchcock with the big win over Woodville 36-31.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this whole region is loaded. I love that Hitchcock team. Cameron Yo, I've loved, since Coach Rhodes got back there. And then you have Franklin.
yeah, Franklin's. I mean, you look at theirs; they're just consistent. Looks like right now you've got 33-7, 32-7. They don't score a whole lot of points, but that defense is just shutting folks down and don't let them get in the end zone. And if you do that, you can win a lot of games. That's definitely for sure. But you've got, again, the way this sets up, you've got two district champions at the bottom of the bracket with their runners up at top. So you would have to think, if you're going based off how they did in the regular season, that the bottom game would determine who would win the region.
Right.
So
If Hitchcock wins, it's because they've dominated with speed, and Franklin's just dominant. They've been there before. Business trip, you know what it's like. Hitchcock wins, a lot of speed. I'm going with Hitchcock. I know a couple people there, know a couple of coaches there. I'm going for Hitchcock. So hey, let's go.
Well,
And of course,
I'd take some of that action.
All right.
Let's go, Hitchcock.
We got Eddie says West Rusk and Wascom was a good game. Yes, it was. It was an excellent game. I sat on my couch and watched it, and it was a very good game. Chris is here with us, Blevins. Shout out to Chris Blevins. Your son and the Bulldogs got a win last night. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Chris. We appreciate all y'all coming over and joining us on the wrap-up show here on the Lone Star Gridiron. All right, we're going to move down to Region 4.
Yeah, I guess that's me, right?
Hey, you wanna take that one?
Yeah, we got Llano over Goliad 21-0. That was a surprise, not the win, but the spread on that one was a lot bigger than I thought it would be. My alma mater, Vanderbilt Industrial, took care of Jourdanton 19-8. They were challenged early on. It looked like, they got to get serious. But if you know anything about this Cobra team, several of the games this season, they waited until they got down, and it gets crunch time for them to wake up.
That's scary to do that, Chris.
Yes.
How much gray hair did you add last night?
Right. Well, look.
Hey, I'm telling you, that's what happens, man. These teams, they just sit there and wait, and that's like the what was the heart attack pack we had that year, Corey, with the won the state championship. I don't know how much you followed Chapel Hill that year. We won state, but like every single game was like insane. We shouldn't have even won, and it was like at the last minute, 3 or 4 games.
That wasn't even the better team.
On my Industrial Cobra show with Coach Nairn, I started calling them the Cardiac Cobras because they did that literally last play of the game. They won a couple of the games. I mean, it was insane.
And just to throw a shout out to your so if I'm Chapel Hill, I could play the Industrial Cobras right on your board game.
Yes, you can. That's right. And thank you for that transition. Yeah, we have a board game, Friday Night Legends, and you can play. Let me see if I can find the graphic. You can play the greatest teams of all time against each other based on their real stats. So if you wanted that Sealy team with Eric Dickerson to take on maybe Kerrville Tivey's team that had Johnny Manziel, you can play it. Any team, any year, you can play that, and the other games are all on sale now using the code BF22, 50% off. Makes the most amazing Christmas gift ever for the sports fan.
Nice.
Cool. So let me get down to the second half of the bracket now. Edna, the Cowboys took care of Universal City Randolph 16-7. Edna's just keeps rolling. Blanco knocked off London 40-13. That Blanco team is coming on strong. They're somebody that people here in the Gulf Coast are worried about, but it's looking like if Edna and Blanco meet, Edna advances. If Vanderbilt Industrial can get by Llano, you're looking at a rematch of their district championship of Edna versus Industrial.
Well, that seems like they'll have a chance.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Industrial came up short. So if that theory is correct, it's hard to beat a team twice. Then your
true.
Industrial team's got a good chance there, Chris.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see about that.
All right, that's Region 4. Anything else we want to talk about in this one?
No, I'm good.
It's a good match. This is a good round. It's a good round.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to 4A Division 2. All right, top bracket or top region here, Region 1. Monahans over Ferris, 35-21, and Godley with a sneaky win over Seminole, 41-40. That was a close game. Seminole, district champion of District 2, out in the area round. It's going to set up a matchup of Monahans Godley in the third round. In the bottom half, this one's going to be a good matchup down below. I think this may determine the region winner as Hershey knocks off West Plains Amarillo 42-17, and Glen Rose all over Fort Stockton 63-12. This Hershey Glen Rose game, Corey, I think this is going to determine your region winner. No offense to the top two of Monahans and Godley, but Hershey we've talked about most of the year. They've been a favorite in Region 1, and Glen Rose is on a roll right now. They're putting up big points and not allowing a whole lot. So I think this is the matchup right now for this region.
Yeah, I mean, Hershey's been here before. They know what it takes to get back, and no surprise. So it's a business trip for them, and it's not going to be an easy matchup. Glen Rose is good, and we know Hershey's good as well. Especially when Glen Rose is averaging just about 60 points a game. And so it's going to be a defensive battle, or whoever scores 41st wins the game. So
Yeah. What do you think about that matchup, Chris? You think that's going to determine the region there too?
Well, it should. I mean, like you've mentioned several times today, it should be somebody from that bottom part. But you just never know. You've got a team like Godley that, they barely got by Seminole, but they got by them. So that's that theory that I forget what Corey calls it, but I've always said, somewhere along the line, if you can play a game and win a very tight game,
survive and advance.
Exactly. You are battle tested, and you can do anything after that.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. All right. Region 2. We've got
got a lot of playing to do still.
They still got a couple games, and Eddie's headed to one of those games right now in Frisco. We've got the top bracket has not been played yet. This is a game that Corey and I talked about heading out to watching today if the weather permits. Aubrey versus Center at 6:00 today at Tyler Mother Francis or Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium in Tyler here where we are. This is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a really good game. we're on opposite sides of the picks here, Corey. I know you went with your center. I took Aubrey just because I think they're a better team. Now, if Center wins, I'll be happy. It's an East Texas squad, but our theories are different with the pick'em, Chris. We'll just say that Corey is I'm going to pick East Texas no matter if it's Carlisle versus Argyle. He's taking Carlisle. I'm taking the pick who I think is going to win, but I still may root for another team.
Sure.
So, but I think Center. I don't think this is a bad pick. If you go with Center, I think they're in a tough district, obviously, and they played Carthage as good as anybody has this year.
Probably the best anybody's played Carthage.
Yeah, and then you've got Caddo Mills and Pleasant Grove playing today at the Star in Frisco, 7 p.m. I like Pleasant Grove in that one. I just think that they're just going to be a little bit better than Caddo Mills. Caddo Mills is coming out of a weaker district.
I like Pleasant Grove also because I know more about them. But what do you guys have you seen the Foxes play? I mean, they're sitting at 11-0, so they've beaten somebody.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, to be honest with you, there's three consonants here. There's Gilmer, there's Carthage, and then right below that is Pleasant Grove.
Yeah,
and if you're going to be Pleasant Grove, you're probably going to be Carthage or Gilmer. And so that's pretty much now Center. I said this before, and I do want to mention this. Center is the darling of this region because they've been playing very good football. Aubrey, those 380 schools, and I call them those 380 schools because that 380 corridor, all those teams are playing really good football right now. Center is very sneaky. They are very good, very athletic. So it's one of those games where they could probably, if it goes down the fourth quarter, they may be able to outgash Aubrey, 31 to 24, something like that. And then Pleasant Grove has to play a very, very, very good battle tested center team. So it could be an East Texas region for all we know, but I don't know. This is going to shape out to be a really good one.
I have to tell you, I'm going to go with Center in that game too, but for my own reason, because I went to college at Stephen F. Austin, and a girl I dated at the time was from Center.
Okay. So you got some ties to it. I like that. That's another theory. You got the I'm tied to the team theory. Just go with them. I like that.
Oh no, he's a lumberjack and I'm a bearcat. No wonder we clash.
Here we go. Here we go. We got Sam Houston versus SFA. Here we go. Hey, and Eddie's talking about 34% win percentage. I don't know which game he's talking about. He said the opponent, is that going to be the Center? Let us know what game you're talking about, Eddie.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. Is
Center Aubrey.
Okay. Caddo Mills. I had asked about 11-0. They've beaten somebody, and he's saying that but
let's see.
But their opponents.
Winner of comes out of region. Yeah. I mean, CM opponents. Okay. Oh, state champion comes out of region 2. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Patsma's going with Center and Coach Tyrell Jenkins. I guess she knows one of the coaches. That's a good reason to pick them. I think that now we talk about that when we go down to the bottom, and we got a heavyweight fight coming up. Now we'll see if it's the Gilmer of old that can compete with Carthage. I'm not sure they are this year, as they knocked off Gainesville 60-20, and Carthage beat Van Alstyne 61-30, which 30 points is maybe the most that they've allowed all year. I'm not sure anybody scored 30 this year on Carthage. Now, they may have rested some folks. We know how that goes. You get the playoffs, you get ahead. You don't want to get anybody injured. So that's going to set up a Carthage-Gilmer matchup. I've not heard where that's going to be yet. I've been trying to –
I think it's in Longview. It's in Longview. Surprise.
Eddie says Gilmer QB is, I guess, saying out. Now, I don't know. I know he probably didn't play this last week because there wasn't any need to, but it'll be interesting to see if he's able to return versus Carthage, because that'll be a big deal. If they don't have the quarterback,
Little Tennyson. I'm gonna call him Little Tennyson.
Yeah, it's the younger Tennyson.
Younger
He played
Tennyson.
well against Chapel Hill. I was impressed by his performance. He that was his first start, and he played real well.
JV quarterback could have played well that game. We had too many turnovers.
Well, that's true. You turn the ball over 7 times, you're not going to do very well.
The field position, anybody could have played that game, but
yeah.
But
he did play. He managed the game well. He didn't turn the ball over. He did what he needed to do.
Carthage, it's Carthage in this region. As much as I hate to say it, Gilmer's not beating Carthage. Gilmer's name is better than what they are this year. Just this year. So I'm saying just this year. So
yeah. I think if Carthage was not in the picture, then I would say
Pleasant Grove. I'll probably pick Pleasant Grove, maybe even Center.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see who comes out of that top region, and we'll those games will be today. We'll go over to Region 3. It's got some interesting matchups here. We've got actually, Corey, you want to do that one? Go ahead and do Region 3.
So we got Silsbee taking on Smithville. I could not say that word today. Silsbee taking on Smithville, 34-0. Silsbee, of course, is rolling. We already know that. And Madisonville with the win over Beeville, 9-3. So Silsbee versus Madisonville.
Is that a baseball score?
Yeah, right.
9-3.
It's like a baseball score. But that's going to be a track meet for sure. Silsbee versus Madisonville. I'm interested to see where they play. Maybe Huntsville, probably Sam Houston, probably. But that's a good matchup there. Silsbee's probably going to win that one by a lot. Upset. This is definitely an upset for me. Waco Conley, the Cadets, got beat by Hampshire, 33-30. So that's an upset there. And then Sealy was not going to beat Cuero, 41-18. Cuero over Sealy. So Cuero has an easier time getting through this region, but it clearly looks like a Silsbee Cuero matchup in this region there. So I don't see anything changing that at this point.
Yeah, I would agree with that one too. Cuero had to win in overtime the previous week, and I think that was a wake up for them. And now Cuero's playing like Cuero, so I see them matching up with Silsbee. I have not seen Silsbee live this year, so I don't know what to expect there. But
speed,
it should be a good
speed. And they score a lot of points.
I think the winner of Region 3 is going to match up against Carthage. If I was guessing in the state game, I think that's this. It's Silsbee and Cuero are both really strong, so I think that's.
Well, I don't think you can knock off Region 4 because
okay. Well, you got Wimberley. You're going to talk about Wimberley.
If you look at Wimberley's district, all 4 teams won. Yeah. So they're rolling. Okay. Wimberley knocked off Orange Grove 48-0. Gerald knocked off Port Isabel 35-21. Lago Vista takes care of Sinton 42-7. Geronimo Navarro 28. Bishop 14. So you've got a whole lot of rematches going on now. Right. Lago Vista, Geronimo Navarro, Wimberley, Gerald.
So you basically have a district playoff now.
Yeah, exactly.
So they could have just basically Region 4. You could have just said, okay, we're going to take District 13. Everybody else go home.
Everybody else go home.
1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Whoever wins the region.
Yeah, and Wimberley has rolled through that. So, I think you can't overlook Wimberley.
Chris, Eddie's got a comment directed at you here.
I see that.
I'm sure he'll give you some numbers to back that up too, Chris. Eddie is our numbers man. He always has numbers to back that up. I think, and here's my take. I kind of agree with Eddie. I think they're weaker. I think Wimberley is definitely the class of it. So if anybody else knocks off Wimberley, Region 4 doesn't have a chance.
Right.
If Wimberley is able to get out, then they could compete. I just think that Region 3 team will be better and will win. I
think Wimberley's head and shoulders above the rest in the region. I think Wimberley and Cuero represents a real good matchup. That could be a great game. Those two have rivalry going way back. Again, I don't know enough about Silsby to know, but I think Wimberley can hang with Cuero.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
it's gonna be. I would not be surprised if it's Hershey, Carthage, Silsby, and Wimberley.
That's a good four. I
Yep.
wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah.
Would
So
be
I think when
surprised.
we've talked about this particular classification kind of most of the year, as there's some that are like wide open. Like we'll get to the next one, 4A
Mhm.
Division 1. I think there's a number of teams that can get in and out of those. This one you had like there's been like 4 to 6 teams that you could say, all right, I think those teams are going to be the final four. And only a couple of regions there was a question. Like we talked about, Hershey was pretty strong. Now Glen Rose is right there, but I still think Hershey comes out of that. Then like we said, Wimberley, possibly Cuero and Silsby, and then you got Carthage, and I think Gilmer got thrown in there. I don't think they're at that level, but I think you could see there's only that's top heavy. You've got a top 6 or 7 teams that are going to be the ones that are going to be competing for those regional spots. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about there? Or y'all want to slide on over to 4A Division 1? I'm ready to talk about that one.
I'm ready to
That's
talk
good.
about 4A Division 1.
Hey, I do have to say though, Brett, when you ask Corey, hey, would you like to go over this one? He gives the best answer every time. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So ask him again.
All right, Corey, do you want to start with Region 1, 4A Division 1?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's go with it.
All right, here we go. We have Big Springs getting knocked off by Wichita, 31 to 7. And then, of course, we got Brownwood taking care of Canyon, 31 to 10. So Wichita falls, and Brownwood will square off in the next round there. Of course, we got Randall taking care of Estacado, 27 to 14. And then, surprise, surprise, Decatur taking on Andrew, 42 to 15. So we got Randall and Decatur taking on each other to see who's going to get the matchup between Wichita Falls and Brownwood. So interesting enough, I think Decatur takes that region. That's just me personally. They've been good all year, and I've heard nothing but good things about Decatur thus far.
I think Decatur Brownwood's regional final. And I wouldn't be surprised if either one of those teams win.
I'm with you, Brett. Decatur Brownwood as the final, and either one wouldn't surprise me.
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Coin. I mean, either one of them. I'm ready to get down here, Region 2. Okay. There's a lot to talk about in Region 2. China Spring over Coffin, 41 to 7. No surprise there. This one was not surprised, like just weird. Lake Worth over Carter, 7 to 2. Do these guys just ready to go play round ball? I think they will be after next week, as right. I think China Springs going to roll over Lake Worth next week. No problem. I think Kaufman was better team than either one of those teams. I think it's just the way the bracket fell. Mm-hmm. So China Spring looks to move on to the regional, and then this bottom half was two great games. As Solana knocks off Kennedale 34 to 28. It's going to set up a matchup with Anna, as Anna knocks off Stephenville 33 to 32. And Chris, this is where I wish we had Grant Terry, as they went to that game. Did you talk to them at all?
I have not talked to him about that game. I just one of the coaches on Stephenville is a friend, and he told me it was a heartbreaker of a loss for them.
That's 2 of those like that.
Yeah,
like at the very last, as Lake Worth has 2 bookends that can play.
So he's saying don't sleep on them, China Spring.
Right.
I mean, it again. You have to line up and dress out. So, I mean,
to me though, honestly, and this is weird because Aubrey, Salina, Melissa, Anna, Van Alstine, they've all been good this year. And if you know anything about 380, those 380 schools, Frisco dominates everything in 380. Everybody goes to Frisco ISD. So those schools are in, I don't say rock throwing distance of each other. It's kind of like Henderson, Kilgore, Chapel Hill, everybody else. They're in that same area. So it's going to be it's going to be competitive no matter what. So I'm interested to see how that may be. It's shaping up to be one of the second best districts in this area. And as far as competitive, because you already know, so it's Salina. I mean, come on, it's Salina. You don't have to say too much. So Salina and Anna, I'm pretty sure they'll probably either play at McKinney or Prosper. So we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see how that goes.
That's going to be a really good matchup. Any of those three, I could see any of those three teams winning that region. China Springs, Solana, and I know China Springs is kind of everyone's favorite, but they're also the defending champions, and it's tough to be the defending champion because everyone's going to get your best shot, and they've been number one for most of the season after they beat Stephenville. So I think they're going to get an easier path to the regional. Obviously, Anna Solana is going to be a dogfight. These
Coyotes,
man, it's going to be.
Coyotes.
And so whoever gets there to play China Spring, I think has a great chance to knock them off because they're going to be a little more battle tested, I think, than what China Springs had to play. Now, on the opposite end, is the other team going to be beat down by the time they get there? So you've got two ways to look at it, but I think either of your matchup is going to be a really good one.
I think the Coyotes take it. I think Coyotes take China Spring. Once you beat the defending state champion in one division, you riding high at this point. Stephenville is not a pushover at all. Not a pushover at all.
No, not at all. No, that surprised me. That's when I know they're 11-0, but that's when I took Anna seriously when they knocked off DeVille. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
And so that can be Salina. That tradition, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, but the fact that Mark Henry mentions Lake Worth, I know him very well. He runs our Third Coast Gridiron show, our Houston area one. He does a ton with the Top Texas Prospects show, covering the top prospects around the state. So if he says they have two bookends that can play, and you look at what they did, they ended up only gave up 2 points.
Right.
That's a strong defense.
And the defense didn't give them up. Yeah. That means the offense got a safety. So
right.
Exactly. So
well, that'll be a challenge.
Now I want to watch Lake Worth.
Now you got that's going to be their biggest challenge all year is to slow down China Springs.
There you go.
So it'll really show how good they are. All right, Corey, I'm going to throw Region 3 to you, and then this is going to be some interesting talk here. We've got some real good matchups here.
Absolutely. So I'm going to get real East Texan here for a moment. So I'm just going to say some of these schools here. Chapel Hill beat Bay City 38-24. Lumberton beat Stafford 23-8. So that matchup we all been waiting for, Lumberton versus Chapel Hill. Been a lot of talk around the state about Lumberton being better than Chapel Hill. It's a 6-7 matchup. It's going to be played in New Caney, so we'll see how that matchup goes. I'm just a little insight on the Bay City game, Chapel Hill Bay City game. Bay City did play very well. But I will say this. We kind of gave them a lot of opportunity to succeed. So a lot of strip sacks, a lot of fumbles, good field position. Minus that, it's probably a 54-17 victory.
But that's what you said about Gilmer too, is we gave them opportunity.
Exactly.
And that tells you something to me about Chapel Hill if they keep giving people these opportunities.
Exactly. So it's not clean.
Corey, we had a pregame show, and what did I talk about in the pregame show? Yeah. What was one of my points of emphasis was protecting the ball. That was one of my keys to the game. Also, the Blue Storm defense though played a great game.
Defense played
well. They got put in some bad spots and were able to hold Bay City to some turnover on downs, some turnovers. I believe it was 5-4 in the turnover battle. A lot of turnovers in this game. Chapel Hill had 5, Bay City had 4. But I think the turnovers that Chapel Hill gave were more. It was damaging a little more. They had the strip where Brisbane did the spin. He got stripped completely. Bay City guy almost returned it for a touchdown, left him on Chapel Hill's doorstep. Miss Basamas, you should be very proud of your son. He played a great game. I think the main difference in this game, and Corey, you may agree with me on this or you may not, the line. Chapel Hill's defensive and offensive line dominated this game. They absolutely dominated. I mean, Estrada, the quarterback for Bay City, was running for his life all night long.
To be fair, let's just be honest and be fair. Bay City was not the worthy opponent. They were not as good as they were supposed to be. Chapel Hill kind of allowed them to play in the game a little bit. And I said it before, if you let an inferior opponent hang around, they'll gain confidence throughout the game. And then all of a sudden the game becomes more of a game. So that kind of what it looks like. But I take nothing against, take nothing off Bay City. They came out, they played aggressive, and they scrapped, and they made it a game out of what shouldn't have been a game. So what we know about Lumberton, they're very athletic, extremely fast, big up front, and this is probably one of the best Lumberton teams that they've had. So this is one of those games where Chapel's going to have to buckle up the chin strap. They're going to have to play their better football they've played as of late. So this is a trap game for them. Being a homer, this is a trap game for Chapel Hill. This is not a little bitty match. It's not playing Lindale or Kilgore. This is a trap game. So Lumberton is a worthy opponent. They're going to come out and play. And this is a game they got to come out and be good. I don't want to say be perfect, but play good football. And you can't give good football teams opportunities to give good field position. You can't turn the ball over, throw interceptions. They play sloppy, so we gotta know what you gotta do next week. So that's what I think. But moving along, we'll say this: Lindale and Kilgore playing in Trinity Mother Francis Road Stadium. Surprise, surprise! Another District of Doom matchup. I'm just gonna say this: Kilgore took care of El Campo 34-20. That was a surprising win. A lot of people didn't think so. I didn't think that was a surprising win. We've seen Kilgore play numerous times. We know what Kilgore's capable of. And then, of course, I'm gonna jump to Lindale here real quick because Lindale was down most of the game against Grassport. They ended up coming out 42-28. I remember saying last week, watch out for Lindale because Lindale's a very well-coached football team and they will compete. So Lindale is playing good football. Kilgore is playing good football at this point. That is a matchup where I wouldn't want to be Kilgore at this point because Lindale may be able to sneak that game and upset Kilgore. And who knows? All those teams are playing well. This is a good region. Anything can happen at this point in this region right now.
Mark's saying Lumberton's a sleeper for the state. Offensive and defensive line are physical and fast. So that's going to be a good matchup because I think our line is also up for that. So it's going to be a good matchup. Going to be Friday, 7 p.m. in New Caney, a nice facility there.
Yep.
So, Chris, you got any thoughts on this region? Now that we want to get your opinion. We have a lot of opinions in this region.
No. I'm like I said, I've been weighing in. I'm always deferring to Mark Henry. So now I'm giving Lumberton a shot. Kilgore took it to El Campo. Like you said, El Campo wasn't the El Campo of old. They still had Reuben Owens, still 7,000-yard rusher, but
the offensive line wasn't that good this
year.
That's
the problem. They graduated that offensive line. So Kilgore moves forward. Yeah, I think I'm still thinking Kilgore, Tyler's Chapel Hill, Lumberton. Those are the three that have a good shot to me.
I'm gonna say this. I do want to say that. I know we got to move on. I do want to say this. It would not surprise me at all because we still need that one game. Chapel hadn't played very well in the playoffs. Let's just say that we haven't played, and I've talked to some other people outside the forum as well. They tend to play at the level of their competition, which is not very good. If your competition is bad, they tend to play down. If their competition is good or up, they tend to play up. That's not a very good. They got to be more consistent if they want to win now. And of course, a lot of people got a lot of tape too. They're down some superstar players that they've had. No excuse for that. The defense, however, has played very well. So I don't want to say that the teams are going to score a lot of points, but Chapel Hill's defense is. I'm not trying to be a homer either. Their defense has played very well. Mm-hmm. And a lot of teams have looked at the scores and stuff. Chapel Hill has dominated a lot of these games that they've played, and a lot of people to talk about. So that's something to look out to. know Lumberton's really good, but Chapel's defense is playing very well at this point. I'm anxious to see how this shapes up. Could be a district matchup in this region.
All right,
Nice,
Chris,
Brett, ask me if I want to do Region 4.
Chris, you want to do Region 4?
Well, absolutely.
Yes. All right. Let's go on to Region 4. Go for it, Chris.
I love it. I tell you, this is my favorite team, my favorite story of the postseason. Port Lavaca Calhoun started off the season 0-7, and they just keep winning. I don't think Canyon Lake was that strong, but Port Lavaca Calhoun has that option figured out. It's a young team. They finally got it working. When it works great. When it doesn't work, it's horrible. They took care of Canyon Lake 28-13. Bernie knocks off Pleasanton, scoring big, 50-28. Somerset over Livonia, 23-13. Corpus Christi Cal Allen, a good one against a good San Antonio Davenport squad, 22-14. Again, my heart is with Calhoun, the Sand Crabs. I want them to keep going. I see them facing off against Cal Allen at the region championship, but heck, I think Bernie has just as good a chance as anybody.
Yeah, I've kind of the consensus for the last few weeks has been it's Bernie and Cal Allen kind of on a collision course for that region. It's a good story, but they're playing they're going to play some real competition here against Bernie this week. So it'll really show how well they're playing.
Yeah.
So if they can beat Bernie though, then who knows?
Yeah.
Because it'll maybe basically it shows them that they can compete against the top teams in that region. So I still like Bernie and Cal Allen in that region though to be in the final though.
Yeah, and I think a lot of their success is teams these days are not used to playing against an option. Back in our day, they were used to that. Everybody ran the option, but it's kind of confusing. So as they get further and deeper into the playoffs, you're going to get teams that react better. So it's going to stop.
All right. Any other comments on that one? We would.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. 5A Division 2.
And Corey, you want to stay in for 5A?
Yeah, I can say 5A Division 2.
Yeah.
Jamming. All right. Let's go. Corey, would you like to do 5A Division 2 Region 1?
Sure, absolutely. Let's take a look here.
Is that your music, Corey?
Somebody's jamming. I don't know who it is. I'm jamming up here.
I don't know where the music's coming from.
It's probably coming from one of your tabs. It's got a video or something playing on it. Just look for a little speaker thing on it.
Let me test. Yeah, it's definitely his tab.
Yeah, it's you, Corey.
It's all you, Corey.
I haven't pushed anything.
It's got to be one of your tabs on your browser. Just look for the little speaker on it. All right. Well, then I'll take Region 1 here. As Corey gets his technical difficulties going, we'll move right along here.
Okay, that's weird.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay. All right. Go for it, then, Corey.
Anyway. All right. Sorry about that. That was embarrassing. So, Cantulio, 21 over 21-14. This is Region 2, Division 5A Division 2 that are going over here. And of course, this is Wiley 42 over Collierville Heritage 42-40. So that's going to be a good matchup. Wiley, of course, is the winner out of District 2. Argyle, surprise.
It's your team, Corey.
Right, 7 over Wichita Falls Rider 7-0, and then of course they're going to be playing against Grapevine. They beat Abilene Cooper, the Cougars there. So Grapevine versus Argyle, and then of course you got Wiley versus Cantulio. Of course, this is Argyle's first or second year in Class 5A?
First year.
So amazing. I can remember when they were 3A. That's weird. I can remember when they were 3A, dominating. So, yeah.
Yeah, then nothing's changed with the dominating part, Corey.
Right. Not at all.
Yeah.
You got
I'm
4
impressed
winners
with their
there.
defense for sure.
Yeah, you got 4 winners there. You got all the district champions in this region,
Right.
so should be up for a good regional final. I think Argyle and Wiley are on a collision course. That's just kind of who I thought would be in this regional final, but we'll see if Argyle can score some points, because
I'm kind of the same way. Abilene Wiley, I think, takes care of Canutillo pretty easily. Argyle, I'm surprised Grapevine's there, frankly. So Argyle, I think, is the clear favorite for the region, though.
What I notice here with Argyle is they go from 1 week winning 63-0, and then they go to a defensive battle 7-0.
Yeah.
To me, that's just kind of strange. I mean, I usually if you're a high-powered offense, you're scoring all the points the most.
Well, I mean, either way, the defense was there, right?
Yeah.
Both games. But Ryder had something that was able to stop that offense this time.
Yeah, Eddie said he was surprised at the Argyle score.
Right.
Yeah, that definitely surprised me a little bit.
It's funny when you check the apps. Like when you check the apps, it's like, oh my gosh, 7-0. Fourth quarter, you almost think that something's wrong with the app.
Right, it's a first quarter score or something.
Yeah, or it's the first quarter score. I've done that several times on the Friday night shows. I'm like, wrong with the app? This can't be true. So
see, Eddie's got Raleigh Popel is good on defensive line, so that must be a good leader of that defense. Eddie thought it was a typo. Yeah, that was strange. I mean, of course, then you had the score a while ago. You had 7-2. I mean, you just don't see that a whole lot nowadays. And
with the spread,
football,
you
don't. Everybody's putting up 30, 40, 50 points. You don't see those low scoring games very often. So, but yeah, I think those are the two in Region 1. Region 2, you've got Midlothian Heritage with a squeaker over Crandall, 45-37. And they're going to play the winner of a game that will be played today at 3 p.m. South Oak Cliff and Lovejoy. This is going to be a good one right here. South Oak Cliff, defending state champions, just haven't played consistent very much this year. They've been kind of up and down. They had a tough schedule at the first year. We've talked about. We still think that they're the favorites in this region, but Lovejoy is going to give them a tough contest. It's going to be a matchup, and I've heard this talked about on numerous platforms. The Lovejoy receiving core versus South Oak Cliff's secondary.
Right.
You've got 3 Division I receivers on Lovejoy, and you've got that secondary led by Malik Muhammad, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Texas commit, so it's going to be interesting to see that matchup. On the bottom half of the bracket, Melissa over Ennis, 42-38. And the shocker to me of this bracket, Terrell over Everman, 49-16. Terrell moves on to play Melissa in the third round.
Years since Terrell's been up there like that.
Yeah, I wasn't shocked by the win because I don't think Everman's, all that this year, even though the record looks good. But I was shocked by the point spread for sure.
Yeah, the score just I mean, Terrell just, of course, and they beat Texas High the week before, by 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so Terrell's beat 2 name brands. You did say Everman's not as good as, but they're a name.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're sorry, Matt Stepp, about that one. I know he's distraught today. His Everman Bulldogs lost. So, but yeah, that's going to set up an interesting matchup, a rematch with Melissa and Terrell. And looks like District 7's doing well so far.
Yeah, I'm thinking Lovejoy has a real good shot here of knocking off South Oak Cliff. But then I think Midlothian Heritage knocks off the winner of that game anyway.
Okay. So they're going to have a tough time getting back to the championship game.
Yeah.
All right. Region 3, we got Fort Bend Marshall takes the win over University from Waco, 49-7. and we've got Lake Creek over Rouse, 78-19. Wow, what a big margin of victory there. As Lake Creek will play Fort Bend Marshall in the third round in the top part of the bracket. In the bottom, you've got Belton got beat 31-10 by Brenham. So Brenham moves on and will play Port Neches Grove, and they knocked off LBJ. Now this one surprised me a little bit. In the score, 68-18, as LBJ knocked out in the second round.
It's really no surprise. PNG just does what PNG does.
I guess maybe LBJ's schedule kind of came back to bite him a little bit. Maybe they didn't play as strong a schedule. We talked about that's who Chapel Hill was beat by last year in the semifinals, but that jump up to 5A Division II had not affected them up until this point. But they ran to a steamroller with PNG there. So PNG will play Brenham. So you've got District 9 champion and District 10 champion up top, and you've got the runners up on the bottom. What do y'all think here?
I think Fort Bend Marshall's the team to beat this region, but that Lake Creek squad just keeps playing great. So I don't know. That could be a trap game, like you say, for Fort Bend Marshall. Brenham, Port Neches Grove. I got to go with Port Neches Grove. Like you said, PNG does what PNG does.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chris, we'll shoot you down and go to Region 4 for us there.
You'll shoot me down.
Yeah. We're going to shoot down to Region 4.
There you go. Oh, well, absolutely. Liberty Hill knocked off Mercedes 63-14. Pretty big win there. Alamo Heights, the Mules take care of Gregory Portland 31-8. Corpus Christi, Flower Bluff 49, Lockhart 42. That was a very tight one. San Antonio Veterans Memorial knocked off Mission Sharyland 35-23. So that sets up Liberty Hill and Alamo Heights. That's probably going to be the best matchup out of the region. The other one is Flower Bluff and Vets Memorial out of San Antonio. I think that's going to be a great game, that Liberty Hill Alamo Heights one.
Yeah, you got three district champions and a runner-up. So
yeah.
Do we think Veterans Memorial has a chance against Flower Bluff, Chris?
I don't know. The Flower Bluff team is hard to get a finger on this year. I've watched a couple of their games, and it's kind of like you're talking about with Chapel Hill. They beat themselves when they beat themselves. So if they show up, they can play with anybody in that part of the bracket. But I don't think, even if they did knock off Vets, I don't think they'll get by the winner of Liberty Hill or Alamo Heights.
So you think the top games for the region, basically, in your opinion, there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's 5A Division II. Any final thoughts on that bracket?
No, moving right along.
All right. 5A Division I. Region 1, Abilene, all over Red Oak, 35-0. You got Centennial over Tascosa. Excuse me, sorry, Tascosa, 31-7. So that's going to set up an Abilene Centennial third round match. Red Oak, man, after they knocked off Ryan, they threw up a blank.
What theory is that? It's the barely win
theory, Corey. The barely win theory, the CM theory, as we call it. So it was in effect there.
Before, and then boom, Abilene comes out blanks the next week.
Yeah,
typically.
That's no surprise here as Aledo knocks off Cooper 45-21, and Midlothian all over Amarillo 56-28. So that sets up an Aledo Midlothian. That's a juicy matchup down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that one probably determines who wins this region.
Yeah, and I think whoever wins out of that one will be playing Burleson Centennial.
Yeah, I think Abilene's run their little run ins here.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Corey,
I got you.
Take Region 2.
I got you. All right, let's see here. We got Mansfield, Timberview, all over Barber Seal, 35-17. And then we've got Reedy, Frisco Reedy, over Lancaster. Wow, 30 to
Wow.
27. Wasn't suspecting that one. We talked about how good Lancaster was, or Lancaster was. And now Frisco Reedy and Mansfield Timberview playing. That shocked me because everyone was looking at possibly Lancaster and Longview in that region, and now look at that. So Longview has an easier road. I did say Frisco Lone Star was maybe may give Longview some competition. Is
Mhm.
Longview. Longview handled Frisco Lone Star 38 to 17. Surprise, surprise. And then, of course, PA Memorial beat Frisco Wakeland 52 to 50, barely win. So Longview plays PA Memorial. I'll be interested to see where they play that game. That's uh, that's a long way to travel between both of those two schools. So interested to see where they play that game at.
Yeah, I love the fact that Region 2 had two overtime games. One of them was four overtimes. Um, but I think you're going to end up out of this Frisco, Reedy, and Longview. I think that's where you're going to end up after it's all said and done.
That game will be a little bit closer than this. I don't know these regions. How are they? Port Arthur, Memorial, and Longview in the same region. I don't know how many miles that is between towns, but man, that's a long way.
Do you dare say they play in Natchitoches this year? They not Nacogdoches, but Natchitoches. Do they play in Louisiana this year? I don't know.
Mm,
That's a lot of travel. That's a lot.
yeah,
That's a big difference. Then you got to travel that far. Then you win the next week. It's a shorter distance there, so you'd have to probably play in Forney or maybe not Forney, but Forney or possibly even Rockwall if you're Lindale, not Lindale, but Longview and Frisco. So
yeah.
it's interesting. So you go from 2 hour drive to a 1 hour drive, a 3 hour drive to a 1.5 hour drive. So we'll see.
All right.
Yeah. All right, we're going to bring in Adam Sandoval. I think we're going to. There we go.
There he is.
Yeah, how you
Welcome, Adam.
How we doing, guys?
Oh man, we're
Good,
good.
good.
We're good. We're in 5A Division 1 right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
Region
perfect.
Three.
We're talking about Region 2. You got any thoughts on it before we go to Region 3? We got Longview and PA Memorial and Reedy and Mansfield Timberview. Any thoughts on those matchups before we move on?
This Longview versus Port Arthur Memorial is going to be very, very good. I think Longview getting Longview moving on, and especially sorry about that, them getting the word that Lancaster was eliminated early.
Mhm.
I think relieves a little bit, like we talked about last week, relieves a little bit of stress off their shoulders because I know Lancaster really wanted to see them, but Port Arthur is nobody to take easy because they're a team that everyone's really forgot about just because of how far down they are in the state of Texas, and no one really has
Yeah.
traction.
Where do you
to
think they
that
play
area.
that game, Adam?
The Port Arthur and
Longview.
game.
We were just
I
talking about
believe
that.
it's in East Texas, correct? I believe it's in Nacogdoches, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I
The other
believe.
Nacogdoches.
Yes.
Not
The other
Nacogdoches, but
one, okay.
Nacogdoches.
We were just trying to guess where the game might be played. We hadn't heard yet, so
Yeah. I believe it's going to be, yeah, that's what I heard.
Fair.
I'm very close with the guy with Wheat. I don't know if you heard him, Jawan Davis with Wheat and Bows. He knows a lot about East Texas as well, and he was one that actually was filling me in about them and that location as well, with him being a good Longview fan.
okay.
Nice.
All right. We'll jump in over to Region 3 here. We've got let's see. We got Magnolia West took the loss to Georgetown, 55-22. College Station picks up the win over Angleton, 27-20. So that's going to match up Georgetown versus College Station, a District 11 rematch. In the bottom half of the bracket, A&M Consolidated takes the loss. Full share with the win, 50-38. They're going to match up with Smithson Valley, and Smithson Valley knocks off Manville 38-28. Thoughts on those guys?
But I tell you that again, two of my favorite stories in this region are Fulshire who's having their historically best season ever, and Smithson Valley. So I think that's going to be just an amazing game. Those two, the Georgetown College Station one, I give the edge to College Station, but again, Georgetown keeps winning.
Yeah, I was surprised by the A&M Consolidated. I was kind of thinking that A&M Consolidated, College Station Region Final would be a good story. Two schools that are right there next to each other, district rivals. But man, Full Shear knocks them off, and so that's a big upset to me.
Yeah, I've heard of the first time I ever heard of Full Shear was last year when they played. I heard of them during a private school game. How they dominated a private school that I know of, and I was like, wow. And the team they beat was Fort Bend Christian, which isn't an easy private school to get by, and they took care of business with them. So seeing them with a decent record, 11-1, and continuously winning, I mean, it's still very, very impressive in 5A Division I. And I mean, they're going to have a great matchup with Smithson Valley. I saw Smithson Valley this year in week 1. They looked really, really solid. They are out of one of their star players who hurt himself in that week 1 game, but Smithson Valley still seems to be doing good without him, and I think winner of Full Shear Smithson Valley could take this region.
Yeah,
all right.
I agree.
Adam, do you want to do Region 4?
Oh, yeah, I could do it.
Do you have it in front of you?
Yes.
All right, good deal.
Region 4, McAllen defeated San Antonio Southside 21-0. Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial defeated Edinburgh Vea 14-7. PSJA North defeated Corpus Christi Miller 35-14. And Brownsville Veterans Memorial defeated Victoria West 74-59. So we got regional semifinal matchups. McAllen and Corpus Christi Veteran Memorial are playing in McAllen Memorial Stadium at 2 p.m. next Friday, and PSJ North is going to be playing Brownsville Veterans Memorial 6 p.m. Friday night at Brownsville Sam Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody have any comments about this bracket? Because this region, I think, isn't going to survive up against Region 3.
Yeah, I think Region 3 is going to take care of this one. A lot of good matchups, I think, in this region. I think there'll be some good games, but I think once they get out of this region, it's going to be tough sledding for them.
I do think the team that makes it out of this region, though, is going to be Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. Last year, they had a great run in the playoffs, and I believe they fell short either in the regional semifinal or the final as well. So I know they are wanting to get back to the same round they were last year and potentially try to go farther.
All right. Anybody else got anything? Adam, you got anything to add to this bracket overall before we move on, since you kind of jumped in late with us?
5A Division I bracket. Let me see. The only thing, not really sure. I mean, a lot of eyes on Region 1, really. Burleson Centennial is a key match. In my opinion, the Region 1 candidate. For me, Region 2, I would have to say, like I said, Longview coming out of there. But other than Region 1, Burleson Centennial, really impressive this season, and they're rolling past their opponent. So very intrigued to see how far they can take it with Region 1, the 5A Division 1.
All right. Well, let's Vince, you got anything for that bracket? And you just jumped in as well. We got no sound, Vince. We can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Mic off. No, go ahead. Let's run it.
All right. Let's go 6A Division 2. Vince, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll start out. So it looks like we got Byron Nelson beating Eastwood 35-28. And then you have Geyer putting a whooping on Highland Park 63-42. Who we got here? It's South Lake Carroll. Looks like they put another whooping on Friendship 69-14. And then finally we got McKinney beating Dallas Giuseppe.
Jesuit.
Jesuit.
Jesuit. Oh, sorry. Forgive me. 42-7.
Man, I still think it's going to be Carroll Geyer
Right.
is what we're looking at right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Geyer's scary. Looks
Now,
like
the
there's
thing-
no also there's no locations for these games yet that'll be played by Geyer and Nelson and South Lake Carroll and McKinney.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
have the
Adam.
locations.
Oh, Adam's
Yeah.
got him.
Oh, you got them?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir. Byron Nelson and Denton Guy are going to face next Saturday at the Ford Center, the Star, Saturday at 2 p.m. And then South Lake Carroll and McKinney are going to be at Choctaw Stadium, 3:15 in Arlington, Texas, and that's going to be part of a triple header that's going to be happening at Choctaw Stadium next week as well.
Ouch. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Arlington's a new spot. Arlington's a new place.
It's the new
Yeah.
hot spot.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at now. I'm here at the press box before South Oak Cliff Lovejoy, and I am really intrigued on why they chose Choctaw Stadium, because to me, what I say is it's indoor playoff weather. Like, why did we not choose the indoor stadium for the triple header? But I don't know. Arlington's going to be rocking next week with that triple header. A lot of great games going to be happening that night. But I do got one thing to say. The Denton Geyer Highland Park game, you said a beatdown. That was more of a shootout. Denton Geyer finally pulled away in the fourth quarter when I was keeping up with that game.
Okay.
It was very, very close.
A lot of points.
The biggest, which makes me question too is Geyer.
Yeah, I see it here. It looks like it was. Looks like that third quarter is what really got Highland Park. If the box score is what I got here, it looks like third quarter guy put up 21 on them, and they weren't able to answer at all in the third, which may have been what got them.
That's typical Geyer fashion. They don't score points.
Adam, I want to jump back to the game you're at and get your call on who you think's going to win that one, because I think a lot of people think this could be an upset.
I think this has great possibility, and I honestly don't think I can see myself being shocked. The upset, I think, is Lovejoy beating South Oak Cliff. I mean, South Oak Cliff beat Lovejoy last year. The year before that, South Oak Cliff struggled as well. So this is really kind of becoming a playoff rivalry we're seeing grow up in front of us. But I mean, I've seen both of these teams closely the past years. I saw Lovejoy, take it as far as the regional final at Choctaw Stadium. I was on the road with South Oak Cliff last year as they made one state. So there is a lot of bad blood with both these teams having plenty of returners who were on the same team last year, seeing each other again this year. So this is going to be really tense. And, I mean, we do have two different styles of football. You got a well-disciplined and quiet team on Lovejoy's side, and then you got a very hype, upbeat, fast-paced South Oak Cliff mentality on South Oak Cliff's side. So it's going to be great to see these teams going head-to-head. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Lovejoy can, secure a win, because they've both been tested the same way in the regular season. And, everyone wants that. Everybody wants South Oak Cliff. I know in DFW wants South Oak Cliff to repeat, but it's going to be very, very hard for them to do that because they have a long road ahead of them, especially with Lovejoy. It's not going to be easy to get by them.
No. All right, let's jump back into where we were in Region 1. Yeah, I agree with y'all. I think it's Denton Geyer and South Lake Carroll are the matchup for the region final.
Mm-hmm. All right. Go down to Region 2. We've got DeSoto all over Rockwall, 52-7. You got Tomball with a close squeak-out win, 16-15 over New Caney. That was a close one. That sets up Tomball versus DeSoto the next round. And we've got Harker Heights with a win over Royce City, 38-17, and DeCaney with 32-17 win over Houston Cypress. That sets up a Harker Heights DeCaney matchup. So, thoughts on that region?
I like DeSoto.
Yeah, DeSoto is very likable.
Decaney's good though. They're not going to be a pushover. I still take Decaney over Harker Heights. So it'd be Decaney and DeSoto to me. That's what I pick.
You said you don't like Harker Heights? Is that what you're telling me?
I picked Decaney over Harker Heights.
Okay, Decaney over Harker. Okay.
Yeah, I think DeSoto. I don't know how strong they are outside this region, but I think in this region, I think DeSoto is the favorite right now to take this one.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on this region, period. And DeSoto is the name. So
Right.
that's the one that everybody immediately thinks, oh, DeSoto.
Goes to, yeah.
But, there's no guarantee that's going to happen.
You've got 4 district champions or 4 of the top seed, I guess, as that 6A, because you don't really know. It's not the same because you can't tell how they finished, honestly, so it's harder to gear, the matchups. It's a little different. But these are the 4 top seeds from their district
Right.
in this one. So there should be some good matchups, but I just don't see anybody beating DeSoto. I may be wrong, but I don't know that this region, like Chris said, I think Region 1 is a lot stronger, so I think the Region 1 champion is going to beat Region 2.
Yeah, I think DeSoto is going to take care of Tomball. I said DeSoto got a blessing with Tomball beating New Caney last night because New Caney was undefeated and Tomball was only 7-4 coming into that game. So I think DeSoto takes care of Tomball, and Harker Heights is going to beat New Caney because they got a great quarterback running back duo, Dylan Plyke and Rayshawn Sanford, who is crushing the numbers as a running back over there. The Houston commits, they're getting a great kid out of him.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a rematch from last year, I believe, from round 2 or 3. And DeSoto beat Harker Heights that year as well. So I do see a DeSoto Harker Heights rematch, but I think DeSoto makes it out the region, but it's going to be tough for them to make it past the opponent in Region 1.
Right.
I like Harker Heights too, but it feels like every time Corey tells me somebody's about to lose, it seems to happen. I don't like to admit that.
Wow.
It's not even that I don't like to admit that I'm wrong. I hate to admit when Corey's right. And so he told us once about the White House game. He caught us again. What was the other game? I can't remember the other game he caught us a week ago. But I do like Harker Heights, man.
Hey Vince,
Corey tell you they finna lose.
How did that Winsboro pick over the cough work for you this week?
It didn't work out too well.
You should have listened to us.
Yeah. I mean, we have some good calls here and there.
All right, who wants to grab Region 3?
I will. All right, so Katy took care of Houston Memorial 62-21. They will face off against Humble Summer Creek, who knocked off Alvin Shadow Creek 36-20. So in the bottom half of the bracket, Hightower 42, Houston Heights 27. C.E. King took care of Clear Falls pretty handily, 30-7. So you're looking at Hightower versus C.E. King. C.E. King is coming on so strong.
Right.
Katy versus Summer Creek. I still think you go with Katy. I think it's Katy, C.E. King tying it up for the region.
Yeah, I think Katy's Katy, so it's hard to go against them. It's a good safe bet anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like C.E. King. I like upsets. C.E. King's been playing some good football this year. Surprised a lot of people. It is Katy. I know it is Katy, but it is a name. But, you never know. You never know. But
That's true. It's a funny shaped ball. It bounces weird.
it definitely can. I like the upsets. I'm gonna pick C.E. King at this point. I like him representing that region.
All right.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Adam.
Oh yeah, I think C.E. King can make it to that regional final, but Katy is gonna be Katy, still defeated. Now, see, like you said, C.E. King has got hot at the right time. I saw them face Allen, and Allen went just right past him. But seeing them make it this far is very impressive. So I'm like, they're getting hot at the right time. But I think Katy's got to represent Region 3 for them.
Well, that's the thing with 6A. I mean, with them not splitting them before the season, with them splitting them after district, if you get seated the right spot and get the right matchups, I mean, you could really make a really good run because you're not necessarily going to face as a 4 seed. You may not face a 1 seed. You may face a 3 seed. That may be 3 seed, maybe the top seed. I mean, so you just don't know how it's going to shake out. So I think that's what makes this classification kind of interesting. I personally, I wish they just split them like the rest of them, where it's like they have each classification already determined. But of course, it's the whole map that they'd have to kind of figure out.
Yeah.
I'm sure it makes it hard, but because I mean, you get to basically you'd be if you're a number 1 seed, then you could be facing a number 2 seed in the first round if you get the wrong matchup, and I think that's part of what I don't like about it. It makes it a little weird, but it's high school football.
You have a good point, Brett. And there's a lot of people who say that Katy made it to several state championships just because of that, because they got put as Division II when there were some better teams that they would have had to play otherwise. So again, right now, I don't think it. I think they're the cream of this region, but in years past, they've kind of had the easier road because of it.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'm sure that there are always talks. We've heard the talk of 7A and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it shakes out in the next 5 to 10 years to see if anything changes. But I think that definitely affects some of the way some of these teams. Like we look at the 6A D1, and it's got a loaded field, and so you get in the 6A D2 bracket. Maybe you're a big school, but you're in there with like 4 or 5 other schools that are even bigger. Then you could be way bigger than anybody in that Division II bracket, but just because your district has bigger teams in it, you end up falling to that Division II. So it's just something to kind of to look at over the next 5 or 10 years. We'll see what UIL decides to do with it. Someone want to grab Region 4?
I'll take Region 4.
All right, go for it, Adam.
Vandergrift defeated Converse Judson 37-7. Harlingen defeated San Antonio Warren 39-21. And then we got 2 games in progress right now. San Antonio Harlan and Westlaco. They're facing off right now in Corpus Christi, and Dripping Springs is facing off against San Antonio Brandeis right now at San Antonio Heroes Stadium, going head-to-head. But Austin Vandergrift's going to face the winner between Harlan and Westlaco, and Harlingen will face the winner between Dripping Springs and San Antonio Brandeis.
Yeah.
Nice. I do have to mention, every time we have a show, Dripping Springs is my favorite story from this one, just because they move up to 6A, and I don't know what they're doing right now against Brandeis, but we'll have to see what happens. Somebody's got music on again.
It might be me here.
I think they're jamming in Frisco out there.
There you go.
Yeah, the stadium.
So who do y'all see coming out of here?
I've got a score for that Harlan Westlaco game. It's 19-3 San Antonio Harlan right now in the second quarter.
Nice.
I don't have anything on the Dripping Springs. That game hasn't started quite yet. Yeah. And then I guess this one is we'll hit later is Midland Legacies losing to Keller at halftime 13-0. So that's I believe that's probably in the next division up game, but that one's at halftime. So anybody else got anything on this particular bracket? We'll move over to Division 1, the big boys.
Big boys. Let's do it.
All right. 6A Division 1, Region 1. We got North Crowley with a win over Pebble Hills, 49-42. And Prosper knocks off South Grand Prairie, 38-26. In the game I just talked about, Keller Midland Legacy, that score is at the half. Keller is winning 13-0 at the half. The winner of that game will play Louisville as they knocked off Martin. I'm sorry. My eyes are getting old, I guess. 10-0. So that's one of those low scoring kind of strange.
That was the biggest surprise to me in that region.
Yeah. Well, Martin went from scoring 62 the first game, and then they got blanked. That's impressive defensively.
But you know something about that game is those kind of games right there interest me just because all it takes is one score and you back in it.
Yeah.
I mean, 10-0. Could you imagine just getting just 3 points alone could change the momentum, and you can make a push, So those games you kind of always on your heels. I hate that they got blanked, but I'll at least say the defense showed up. They held them to 3.
That's true.
I mean 10. I'm sorry, not 3. They held them to 10.
I think anybody got any comments on Region 1 here? I mean, I still think Prosper probably is the favorite. Yeah, that's what I think will come out of here.
You got North Crowley.
I want North Crowley. Coach Gates, first year head coach there, doing a great job at North Crowley. So they're doing great.
Hey, Corey,
I want them to succeed.
North Crowley's he's on barely win theory watch though. Corey. So they may not be able to. It may affect them against Prosper.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, I don't call that. That's what I'm saying. I am the exact opposite. If you get a barely win against a really good team, I think it moves you to the next level. And now you've seen how to deal with, controversy and hard times. So I think you're stronger on a barely win.
Well, it must be they must have created the theory at two different colleges. At SFA they have it one way. Sam Houston they have it another way. So maybe that's why theories are off.
It's possible.
Adam, you missed it. We have a SFA lumberjack and a Sam Houston Bearcat here. So,
wow.
We have a nice little rivalry going here in the group here. All right, so Region 2. Who wants to grab Region 2?
I'll grab it. So you got Duncanville taking out Wiley 41-0. You got a few zeros at this level. That's crazy. You got the Woodlands beating Klein Kane 62-21. And then you have Waxahachie beating Rockwall 31-25. That looks like that was a close one.
Yep.
And then hold on, sorry. Then you have Westfield beating Klein Collins 41-38. So who's your favorite coming out of here?
I go with Woodlands. I saw Spring Westfield get dismantled by Galena Park North Shore. So I don't trust them.
Duncanville. I feel like Duncanville would be a good story. They've been to their basketball program right now is just in shambles, and with all the stuff they brought down on them by the UAL, I think it'd be a good story if Duncanville made a little run here. Be good
although the Woodlands is not a pushover.
No.
Woodlands would not be a pushover.
And it would be a nice story if Duncanville goes and loses again to Galena Park North Shore.
Oh man!
Oh no! I don't. I can't. I'm not gonna watch another game that way. I turned that game off early. I couldn't do that. I wanted them to win it.
Adam, you got any thoughts on this region?
I think we could see Duncanville versus Spring Westfield. I saw Waxahachie Rockwall last night here at Globe Life. It was a very, very close game. Waxahachie, a great team, but I think Westfield will be too much for Waxahachie. And then Duncanville versus the Woodlands, that'll be a great matchup in the trenches, I believe, because you got Duncanville, one of the best front sevens in the state, and the Woodlands has a great line as well. They're going to clash at it in the trenches a lot, and I think that'll be great to see. And then that'll just bring us another rematch from last year with Duncanville and Spring Westfield.
Yeah.
Do you have any locations for those games?
Yeah, Saturday, Duncanville and the Woodlands are playing in Pflugerville at the field. I'll be at that game to get coverage for that one. And then Waxahachie and Spring Westfield are playing at Hutto Memorial Stadium at 2:00 on Saturday.
No, those are close, both of them.
I know both of those are. Yeah, that's not a bad place.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's roll up on the top to Region 3. Who wants to take Region 3?
I'll take
I
it.
want to hear, Corey say Atascocita.
Absolutely. All right. All right. Let's see. We got South Fair taking on Cinco Ranch. Of course, it didn't work out very well. Cinco Ranch 13-10 over South Fair. North Shore, of course, doing North Shore things. I beat Dickinson 43-34. Let's see. We got Lamar getting beat by Ridge Point 14-10. And of course, Atascocita beating Clear Springs 35-7. So we got Ridge Point and Atascocita, and then of course we got Cinco Ranch versus North Shore. And of course we got some locations here: Katy ISD Road Stadium, Cinco Ranch, and North Shore. We playing there on the 25th at 2:30 p.m. So that's another good matchup in that region there, but it's North Shore. So
Yeah.
it's not gonna matter.
Make North Shore Atascocita rematch region final.
Right? It's shaping up to be. And they might as well play that at NRG Stadium. So I don't know why they don't. So I mean, that's gonna be a matchup. Just play that NRG.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I do have to give some kudos to that Dickinson squad. Man, they played North Shore as well as anybody I've seen. So they
Right.
did a great job. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it's a close game
Yeah.
for North Shore. I mean, 9 points in the second round of the playoffs. So that's impressive.
Sometimes you
Adam, you
game
got
plan the
anything?
right time.
Anything for this one, Adam?
I think we'll see North Shore and Atascocita again for a rematch for the regional final. I really think. Well, I can't even say if North Shore can beat Atascocita. When I saw North Shore Atascocita, in my opinion, should have won that game, but coaching decisions held them back. I think if they fix that, Atascocita can beat North Shore still in the regional final. That'll be a great story already. Losing in district, and then they come and beat them in the regional final, and that'll shake up a lot of brackets already. That aren't broken already by now.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody else got anything in Region 3?
Nope.
All right, someone grab Region 4.
I'll take Region 4. I wanted this one.
Mhm.
Lake Travis defeated undefeated Cibolo Steel 24-21. San Antonio Brennan defeated Los Fresnos 42-7. Austin Westlake, being Austin Westlake, beat the Unicorns from New Braunfels 45-14. And San Benito beat San Antonio Taft 38-19. So Lake Travis coming back and letting know that they're Lake Travis facing San Antonio Brennan Friday in New Braunfels. And Westlake's going to face San Benito Friday at San Antonio Alamo Stadium.
Okay.
Westlake
Westlake.
Westlake.
Lake Travis. The Westlake Lake Travis matchup.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't look past that Brennan squad because Brennan is solid. I like San Benito. They have no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately.
Westlake and Brennan, I'm thinking, I've seen Lake Travis get beat. Dripping Springs beat them. Westlake beat them. So Brennan is solid. Their only loss was to Cibolo Steel in week 1. And I always discount week 1 losses because nobody knows their position yet.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
No, we
playbook.
talked about that too. Yeah, like week 1 is you got to knock the rust off.
Yeah.
As always, I always
those
call
games
it
are
week
excusable.
1. WEAK, week 1.
And that game, Brennan, and when Cibolo Steel beat Brennan, that game went Cibolo Steel won on the last second touchdown.
Mhm.
Brennan scored on that on their final drive, and they needed a hold, and Cibolo Steel took 30 seconds off the clock and scored down the field like 70 yards. So that was like you said, that was a very close game to begin with in week 1 already.
So Adam, do you think Brennan can hang with Westlake?
I don't think they'll be able to.
No.
I think Westlake is gonna take this region. As much as I'd love to see a San Antonio team make some more noise, I think that's where the road's going to end for San Antonio area. Westlake will remain king of Region 4.
Yeah, I agree.
When was the last time a San Antonio team, minus Converse Judson, they hadn't been Converse Judson in 20 years. But when's the last time that I can't remember?
Well, Steel was
I think it would have to be Steel when when Caden Stearns was there.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only last time I think a good San Antonio team made a good run, other than Judson, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Justin just they, of course, it's Justin, but it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I'm just thinking out loud.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, cool, guys. That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for showing up and playing a role here. And man, I tell you, it's going to be exciting this next week.
Yeah, there's a lot of good matchups. We'll have our show this week at 8:30 p.m. on our NetSN channel. So if those of you that like talk East Texas, like a lot of small ball, there's a lot of good matchups in East Texas coming up this week. So come check us out. I know a lot of our peeps came and joined us today, so we thank everybody that came out and followed us over, and also thank everyone else that came out and are listening as well. We appreciate it. Good fan interaction today.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. All right, guys. Thanks again. And we'll remember, same time every Saturday until this thing's done.
Yes.
StarGridiron.com. Access the complete history of Texas high school football, over 100 years of information, win-loss records, coaching histories, individual stats, records, and more. Lone Star Gridiron, the authority on Texas high school football.